least 46 people have been killed in Peru, including several children, after a bus collided with a lorry and plunged over a 100-metre-high cliff onto a rocky beach below. On board at the time were 57 passengers, many of whom were returning from the New Year's holiday. The accident happened near the area of Pasamayo on the Pacific coast. The road is known as the Devil's Curve Highway. No road leads directly to the beach, complicating rescue efforts, although firefighters managed to transport several survivors to a nearby hospital.
North Korea's threat to carry out another missile test, along with Kim Jong-un's statement that he has a nuclear button on his desk, has prompted a clear response from the US president. In a tweet, Donald Trump said that he too has a nuclear button, but that his is much bigger and more powerful, adding that his button works. Developments were more positive at regional level, with China welcoming Seoul's offer to Pyongyang to talk about the possibility of the North participating in the Olympic Games, due to take place in South Korea later this year. China welcomes and supports North and South Korea's efforts to improve relations, push forward the relaxation and realisation of the peninsula. But the US made it clear that that development will have little effect on its policy towards North Korea.
North Korea can talk with anyone they want, but the U.S. is not going to recognize it or acknowledge it until they agree to ban the nuclear weapons that they have.
Early on Wednesday morning, it was being reported that the North plans to open a hotline to the South to establish formal dialogue about the Olympics. North Korea has confirmed that it will reopen a cross-border communication channel with South Korea. The move comes after Seoul's offer on Tuesday to talk to Pyongyang over ways in which the two states could cooperate on the Olympic Games, due to take place in the South later this year. In accordance with the will of our leadership, we will closely communicate with South Korea in a sincere and careful manner and discuss practical matters regarding sending our delegation to the Olympics. The two countries plan to restore the communication channel late on Wednesday. The South Korean government welcomes North Korea's response to yesterday's offer to restore the Panmunjom communication channel. We'll discuss practical affairs regarding yesterday's offer to hold South and North Korean talks. There have been repeated attempts in recent years by the rivals to talk, but meetings have often ended in recriminations or stalemate.
I reaffirm.
President Donald Trump is questioning US funding to Palestinians amidst ongoing protests over the decision to officially recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. In a tweet, Mr. Trump says Palestinians are no longer willing to talk peace, and goes on to ask why the US should continue to make what he called massive payments to them in view of their stance. Palestinians have refused to accept Washington's stance on Jerusalem, and thousands have taken to the streets of Gaza and the West Bank every Friday to protest against the announcement that was made in December. Some of the demonstrations have turned violent and a number of people have died. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas said he would not accept any US peace plan for the Middle East in light of the decision.
Demonstrations of solidarity with protesters in Iran have been taking place in several European capitals, including Berlin. Members of a Kurdish-linked Iranian refugee association claim many of those arrested back home are being put under pressure to confess to being tools of the West. We know that they need the support of Iranians in exile, which is why we're here. Many of us here have experienced several of these protests in Iran in the last decades, in the 1980s, the 1990s, and again about 8 years ago in 2009. In Rome, a group of around 30 demonstrators said to be part of the militant Mujahideen movement displayed placards reading "Stop executions" and "No to Rouhani." The diversity of exiles supporting the protests reflects the wide spectrum of grievances behind the current unrest back home. In London, it was supporters of the Shah who fled into exile just before the 1979 Islamic Revolution who came out to show their support. A UK-based Iranian analyst says the lack of unity among protesters and their supporters will be their downfall.
It's not just one slogan or one cause. So for that reason, and without leadership, I think it would phase out. And if it didn't, then I think it would be crushed. But that would be the safe bet, I'd say.
Moldova's president has defied the country's constitutional court by rejecting its decision to temporarily strip him of his powers. It comes after Igor Dodon blocked the pro-Western government's choice of new ministers in a reshuffle. He'd accused them of incompetence and some of having links to a €1 billion corruption scandal. Outside the court, the president's chief counsellors said the move against the president had been entirely politically motivated and orchestrated by an unconstitutional body. Some members of the ruling coalition, however, have accused the president of creating a crisis for purely personal reasons. The court is here to resolve problems between the state powers. We need a functional and stable government. This blockage has been caused by the president's unfair rejections. It's the latest in a series of spats between Dodon and the government of Prime Minister Pavel Filip, which favours closer ties with the EU and the United States.
Storm Eleanor has battered Ireland with furious waves washing up coastal roads, causing flooding and cutting power to tens of thousands of homes. Here in the harbour city of Galway, some people had to be rescued from the rising waters in kayaks. Transport links have been affected, and local police have warned drivers of debris on many roads. The storm is also wreaking havoc in the UK, where the Met Office has issued a yellow warning for very strong winds across most of the country. Gusts of up to 160 kilometers per hour have been recorded since Tuesday night. Traffic is being disrupted by fallen power lines and trees, sometimes very big ones like here in Belfast. The storm is now moving further south and has already cut power to 200,000 households in northern France.
Momento para outro espaço comercial, ora no Stobek e Deportes CBA.